everybody. How are you all? Jason Smith's on. It's summertime. No school. I love it. Love it. Love it.
Good to
All
see
right,
you.
guys. You too. I know you always are ready for your summers.
Right. Hey, disclaimer, I do watch these videos and everything, even they're, the recorded ones. So I'm not forgot about anyone.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. I love it. All right, guys, we're going to get started while people are jumping on. So I have something kind of different to share with you guys today. Let me share my screen really quickly. Here we go. And one of the bigger reasons is KWRI has not, well, hold on a second, slideshow. Okay, there we go. Can you see my screen? Yep. Okay, awesome. KWRI has not, Gary's top group did not put out the end of the May numbers yet, like I normally get. So I don't have as many of the pretty slides to share with you guys today. However, I do have a couple of updates on our key numbers that we always go over, and I'll share those with you. And then I also want to be focused today on sellers, which I believe are the market of the moment. They're kind of always the market of the moment, but especially right now, they're very much the market of the moment. So the thing about why you're here today, typically on our monthly industry update, is to give you perspective. And just remember, perspective should come from data, experience, and also it can come from the past as a predictor as well. And I'm having some major Kentucky allergies today, so sorry if I am having to drink water and clear my throat. So when we talk about a lot of these numbers, we want to give you perspective, because if you think about it, our clients typically and the consumers are just listening and believing what they hear on the news. And a lot of times that's not always right. I do like to start with this. And sometimes this changes and sometimes it doesn't. So if you can put in the chat, put where you are and how you are right now. Are you slower, really busy, or normal? Would you say? Totally curious. And I like to look, because as we do these, Columbus steady, Richmond slow, Kentucky slower. As we do these, busier than I've been all year. Josh, that's good. Slower, fairly busy. Good offer sent today. Todd, you're on a roll. Louisville Lex, slower, slower but steady. So kind of, depends on location. Yep. So it's kind of it's kind of all over the place based on your area. And that's the one thing I do like to say, and why I always ask that question. Based off of where you are, sometimes the market's going to be different. So a lot of times it looks like when we see national numbers, just know that your specific area could be a bubble or it could be different. Like right now, for instance, actually, let me go back. Right now, for instance, in Columbus, Ohio, there's so much activity happening in Columbus. It might not be like the busiest it's ever been, but we might not be seeing the drop that we're seeing in a lot of other areas just because of so much happening. So just remember, it's always going to be based off of your location. So here are the magic numbers that we share all the time that I really want you guys to pay attention to and know. They're 2246. And I still to this day have to remind myself of these, but if you haven't seen these, you need to write them down, take a screenshot and know them. And if you have, it's just a really good repeat for you. So in our economy in the United States, we really want GDP to be around 2%, inflation to be around 2%. We want to see real estate appreciation around 4%. And we want to see unemployment below 6%. When those numbers are working, and we can stay at those numbers, everything is smooth and good. And when it's not is when we kind of feel out of whack. So over the last year-ish, 2 years, we felt very out of whack because these numbers were very out of whack. And if you've been on these consistently every single month, and or you go back and watch the recordings, you can kind of see, like, as I update these every month, I see us getting closer and closer and closer to being back at these numbers. So again, I don't have the new slides. So I did some research on my own, so they're not going to be as pretty, but this is the last one that we had through the end of April from Keller Williams research team. And we're going to start with GDP. We ended Q1 right around 1.1%. Remember, the definition of a recession is 2 quarters back to back in a row with negative GDP. We had that. And then ironically, what happened after that was we kind of went back up. So a lot of times we in real estate will fill a recession prior to there being a recession. And it's because we can look at these numbers and see. May for GDP was actually 1.7%. So this is a number that I pulled from the US Bureau of Economic Analysis. However, it did go up a little bit from the end of May. So once we get, from the end of April. So once we get the full research team from KWRI, I'll be sharing that with you guys next month. But as you can see, based off of here to May, so we did go back up just a little bit. Inflation through the end of April was right around 4.9% when you include energy and food, and 5.5% when you exclude it. One of the things to pay attention to with this number, well, you guys can typically, we all feel it first in gas and or in groceries that we're buying. We can feel inflation. For May, it ended actually at 4%. So inflation has come down a little bit from April to the end of May, which is good. So it is continuing to trend a little bit lower. And I don't know if you guys have felt that or seen it. A big piece of that was because gas dropped, energy and gas dropped a little bit. Although, I don't know, maybe I can tell a little bit that it's dropped. But it is trending a little bit back down, which is great. So home sales monthly, we had this last updated through March. I think I have it. Yeah, I'll show you a couple of things on this. So through March, we were right at 4.44 million compared to March of 2022. We were at 5.69. In April, I believe the number was 4.33, but that hasn't been updated yet. If you look here, this is May 2023 through May of last year. And again, these stats are from NAR, but this is nationwide, right? So this is all across the nation. So you can see for May of 2023, we did have a decrease by about 20%. And that's compared to last May of 2022. So again, you might not be feeling specifically in your area that much of a drop yet. But if you look so far from January, February, March, April, May, nationally, we are definitely trending across the US as our change is going down. So if you are feeling it, just know that what you're feeling is normal. And if you're not feeling that, it might be because you're in kind of a insulated area. Unemployment at the end of April was right around 3.4. Yeah, Central Ohio, Josh said 19% year-over-year sales. So and that's Josh, I'm glad you put that in the chat, because if you don't know your specific markets that you sell in, you guys need to know those numbers. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit when we talk about seller focus for the rest of our time together. Unemployment, if you go back, remember, hopefully you wrote that down. We really want to see it below 6% for the first time, actually, since I think October. Let me go back. Yeah, for the first time since October, we saw an increase in unemployment. So for May, it jumped to 3.7%. If you go back in April, it was right around 3.4%. So not a huge increase, but here it says 3.42. But we did see an increase in unemployment. And so it'll be interesting to see over the rest of the next quarter what happens with unemployment and if we see that tick up or not. I still feel like everywhere is looking for people to work. So I don't know if you guys are experiencing that too, but I'll still go to eat somewhere and they'll say like short staff today, have patience, give us grace. So it's interesting to see how that works. So one thing I wanted to share with you in case you missed last time, I shared with you a one-pager that Gary Keller shared with the top 100 and it was this, and I challenged everybody to take a screenshot of this, make one make one on your own, and make sure that you have this, because this is what you need to be working on right now. I did give you some examples. If you missed this, you can go on the YouTube. Abby, I don't know if you have the link to that we could put in the chat, but watch last month's and I'll walk you through exact examples of this. But in this market, you really, really, really need to know your value to your customers, your value to agents. If you have a team, agents on your team, your primary lead generation levers, and your org chart, meaning what's your current org chart and or what's the next hire that you need to make. Oh, perfect. Thanks, Abby. Okay, if you guys missed that, you can watch last month's and I'll walk you through some examples of that. But I wanted to just make sure that we don't just talk about this page one time and then skip over it. I also gave you 4 pages of examples of unique touches. And if you didn't get those, here they are again. You can screenshot them or you can go back and get them on the recording. These were really, really great unique touches. So here's the first 2 pages and here's the second 2 pages if you want to screenshot those. And the reason why I shared these is because right now everyone needs to be focusing on not only your quantity of touches, but your quality of touches, especially when it comes to being seller focused. So what I want to talk about today in the market of the moment is the seller focus. And I actually subscribe to, Josh Dawson and I together subscribe to a research company called 1000 Watt. And this is where their research is done. This is a part of their research. And this whole thing was around prospective sellers and what they're thinking. And what they're actually, what's going on with them in the market right now. So I just want to run through a little bit of this, and I'm not going to explain, read every single detail, but I do want to walk him. I do want to walk you through each of these because there's really, really great perspective in this. And if our focus is sellers, then this is what we need to be working on right now. So the first question was, what's the approximate interest rate on your current mortgage? 48, almost 49% said they're at a 3 to 4%. So what I want you to think about here is a need to sell can easily become a would like to sell, and a would like to sell can easily become I think I'll wait, for the 2/3 of respondents who have basically 4% mortgages or less. And so, buyers, of course, they talk about buyers are going to be facing, a difference on that too. However, what I really want you guys to think about here is we have to flip the script on this, and we have to really think about how we can get past the objections when it comes to these things, because otherwise we can just fall into the same trap of letting them say, oh, I can just stay. I'm not going to sell. I can just stay at the rates that I already have right now. And not sell. And I think, I got to plug up my laptop really fast. As you see us walk through this, you're going to be able to get some ideas around this. So at the bottom, you can read, it's times like this that knowing your prospective customer matters more than ever. Growth in these conditions is zero sum. So you're either snatching opportunity from your competitors or they're doing the same to you. And so that's one of the things I really, really want you guys to think about is getting, is how you can actually snatch the competition when it comes to this stuff. Okay, so I want to walk through a couple of these things really quickly and to get some ahas around this too. So 75% of the respondents of the 1000 Watt survey indicated that they plan to use an agent to help them buy their home and sell. This is really, really, really good news. And so this is what we want to see. Change in lifestyle was the #1 reason why they thought about selling. So when you've heard Gary Keller talk before, you guys, and a lot of top agents will say this, it's a lifestyle change, and we've got to go find those people that are having a lifestyle change. It honestly could be how you guys have heard either the 4Ds or the 5Ds, or, I never can remember all the Ds, but are there diapers? Are they getting a divorce? Has there been a death? We have to be able to find the motivated. And typically that's because there's been a change of lifestyle, right? If you look, it says information about price declines accelerating next year make 53% of respondents more likely to sell right now. Hold on, actually, guys, sorry. Hold on 2 seconds. someone is at my door and I gotta tell them to hold on. Gotta love Zoom from home life. One sec. Okay, got it. Sorry about that. Okay, half of the respondents reported speaking with an agent about selling. 64% of that group reported that this conversation made them more inclined to sell. So this is going to be a huge aha that I want you guys to think about. 84% of respondents who have a mortgage on their home are either very concerned or somewhat concerned that high mortgage rates will impede their ability to sell. However, when presented with context that explained that refinancing to a lower rate in the future may be possible, 50% said that that information made them more inclined to sell. So the aha that you guys should be having there is that it's all about context. Even if they have a lower rate, if they have a lifestyle change, and you can go and find the motivated, meaning you can find the people who have the lifestyle, who are having the lifestyle change, you can give them context around the mortgage rates, 50% of them are going to be more likely to sell. And then if you look here, 66% of the people actually reported that they do read marketing materials. I'm going to go over this towards the end. And 91% reported being very clear or having a pretty good idea of their home's value, and indicate that an agent's opinion, Zillow, and recent home sales contributed to that understanding. Note that they are still going on Zillow to look to see what they think that their home is worth. So a couple of quick stats that I found fascinating. These were part of the 1,000-watt seller survey. When asked how long they owned their home, 39% of people right now are in that 6 to 10 year mark, which, as we know, is the average time frame that then people are typically ready to sell. A large majority plan on using the same agent. So when asked if you sell, do you plan on using the real estate agent that you used to buy your home, to sell your home? 75% still said yes, which is great. And just remember, a lot of that has to do with the touching and the communication. Why have you thought about selling your home recently? 25% are change in lifestyle, followed by 19.33% want to move closer to family, which that can be lifestyle too, you guys. And then another 19.83% want to realize gains in my current home's value. So among the 25% who do not plan to use their previous agent, just to back up to that one, their reasons were, I want to shop around and see what my options are. I like comparisons. I may consult them, but I still want to shop around. I may find a better one. So their mind isn't 100% made up. It wasn't necessarily that they just, didn't like their last agent or something happened. It's just that maybe they were good. They weren't great. So they want to continue to shop around. If you look at this question number 4, the change in lifestyle, that just continues to send us back to, we've got to find the motivated, which is also in the shift book. What is your general perception of the real estate market right now? 35% still said the market's hot and favors sellers, followed by 30%, the market is cooling. What's the top factor that has kept you from selling, even though you've thought about it? 34%, this is kind of a close one. The housing market has slowed down and I'm not sure I can get the price I want, which is kind of contradictory to the market's hot and favors sellers, by the way. And then 34%, I would have to buy another home and get a mortgage with a much higher interest rate. I tend to hear, I don't know about you guys, I tend to hear that top one a little bit more than the second one. Curious to see if you guys are hearing the second one at all, but definitely tend to hear the first one a little bit more. And then 19% said, I'm worried about the economy generally, which shocked me, but also didn't shock me. Have you spoken to a real estate agent about selling your home recently? 50% said yes. So people are thinking, which is the other aha that I want you guys to have right now. People are thinking about selling their home. If 50% of the people that were surveyed across the United States have said that they've actually spoken to someone about selling their home, or they might not have signed or they might not have committed, but if they've spoken to somebody, then they're thinking about it, right? Did speaking with a real estate agent make you more or less inclined to sell your home? 65% almost said more. So here's where you guys, we have the opportunity to really come in and be the expert. And this is the part I really want you to think about, because look at this. When It says, when asked why these conversations had such an impact, here's what they said. Because she thoroughly explained the advantages of selling sooner rather than later. They gave me optimism and options for selling my house. He pointed out the true potential of a sale. They gave me a lot of details that made sense to me. So if you guys really think about that, if they think about selling their house and then they speak with you, are you leaving them feeling all of those ways, or at least one of those ways? Are you leaving them and they're feeling like, man, I'm more optimistic about this? Because if they were 51% were very concerned about rising rates and 34% said they were somewhat concerned, the issue was even significant for responders who had no current mortgage. Not surprising, given the persuasive discussion of this topic in the media. So basically what they're saying is, if we leave it to the clients to just watch the news and read what they're reading online, they're going to hear doom and gloom, right? They're not getting the true data in most situations. But if we can go in as the professional and show them the advantages, give them different options, point out the potential, and give them all the details that they need by being the market expert. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like that there's huge opportunity there to be able to convert more business, especially when you're finding the motivated who are needing or wanting that change in lifestyle. Question number 9, does the following statement make you more or less inclined to sell your home in the near future? Here's the script. Interest rates have risen a lot in the past few months, but if you sell now and then have to get a higher rate for your next mortgage, you can always refinance into a lower rate when they come back down. A new home can be forever, but a new mortgage rate can almost always be changed over time. Like, every single person should screenshot that right now. If you're on a Mac and you don't know how to screenshot, it's Shift-Command-4. Or you can Shift-Command-3, I think, and take one of the whole thing. Or take a picture with your camera on your phone if you don't know how to take a screenshot. Everybody needs that script, because 50% said they were more inclined to sell their house after their real estate agent said that to them. So it's all about flipping the script, you guys, and having them truly think about a home. It's a lifestyle thing. It's not necessarily, unless you're investing, it's not a business transaction. It's an emotional transaction. And so we've got to let them understand that they can't let the rates impact them like that. Let's see. Josh said, many lenders are offering a free refinance right now. I'm so glad you said that. Yeah, you're spot on. I've heard that from several different lenders, and that's so great. What another thing to add to that script. You know, you can, even when you refi, most are offering it for free right now, so it won't even cost you money. Does the following statement make you more or less inclined to sell your home in the near future? Most economists project housing prices to decline significantly in 2023. If you sell your home now, you can still command a good price, while likely getting more favorable terms on a new home even a couple of months later. Almost 53% said more inclined. So think about that script also. It's just another way of getting them to think, and letting them know that really, truly, now is such a time to take advantage. I like the rest of these. If you look at this, okay, do you receive this? Where we're going to switch gears a little bit. Do you receive marketing material from real estate agents via print, mail, email, or on social media? And if 55%, almost 56% said yes, occasionally, 20% a fair amount. People are still marketing. Agents who are doing business are still putting out marketing. And most of them, you guys, are doing all of the above. They're doing print, they're doing email, and they're doing social media. Oh, perfect. Thanks, Abby. She gave you guys a screenshot of that. So that's perfect. Do you ever read the marketing materials? 46% said yes occasionally, and 26% said yes sometimes. I mean, only the bottom line here is only 8% said that they never read the marketing material. So here was the aha that I had around this. You guys tell me what you think. Over the last 2 to 3 years, I would venture the majority of real estate agents, maybe even you guys and maybe even us, went into listing appointments even without any marketing material, because we were just getting the appointment. They called us, said they want to list their house. We didn't know if they were interviewing multiple agents. We weren't in the days of our listing presentation packets and getting all the market data research done and all of those things. And the statistics show now that is very important, you guys. If you look at that, only 8% of people are not looking at it. And I would venture to say that the people who are doing it, the 76% that are doing it occasionally or a fair amount of it, are the top agents that are getting the market share. So I just want you guys to think about and maybe have put thought around what your listing presentations, what your pre-listing packets, what your pre-listing sheets. If you got out of the habit of doing those, getting back in the habit of having that marketing material ready. And if you've been in the market, if you've been in the business just recently or over the last couple of years and you've never had to have it, don't get in the habit of not having it because it's proving to be more and more wanted by consumers. Which kind of marketing materials do you find interesting and useful? 39% said those that list recent home sales price. If you are with Keller Williams and you're not using Command's neighborhood nurture feature, it is probably the one thing that I would say everybody needs to be using. If you're not using Command for other things and you're still using whatever you're using, no problem. I don't fault you at all for that. However, the neighborhood nurture tool on Command gets them off of other search sites that we don't want them on. That have already been mentioned in here that they're still continuing to go to. And if the number one thing that they're looking for are recent home sales, that tool exactly gives them, it emails them from you every single time a home sells and comes on the market and sells in their neighborhood. And that's what they want, right? Number one, that's what they want. Number two, why not have it come from you versus having them go to off sites that they can click something and get picked up by 8 agents in 3 seconds? Because you never know, right? It can definitely happen. Do you have a good sense for how much your current home is worth? 55% pretty much said, yes, I have a pretty good idea. And then 34%, I'm very clear, not really sure. Again, this one, Josh, I'd be interested to see what you think about that one. That one kind of shocked me because I also wonder how much of that they're looking at, Realtor, Zillow, Realtor.com, Zillow, or other sites, and they think that they know what it's worth versus truly having a comparable market analysis done by a professional and really that being what it's worth, and or have they had an appraisal done? I don't know. I think that's kind of an interesting one. If you look at the next one, how did you form your opinion of your, oh, here we go. 37%. Oh, I answered the question before. I forgot this was in here. 37% said I got an opinion or valuation from a real estate agent. 27% still said from Zillow. 29.6, I know what homes have sold for in my neighborhood. So that's interesting. I have lots of thoughts around that. I guess my first thought would be, what if that 37 looked like 37 plus 27 plus 29, whatever that is? I feel like we would be grabbing a lot more market share if they were only getting their opinion or valuation on what their home's worth from us versus outside sources. They said when we filter responses to show only those who had not yet talked to an agent about selling their home, we see significantly more reliance on Zillow and recent neighborhood sales. Once again, we see that agents and brokers can drive favorable outcomes if they proactively engage. That's the big part, right? So the neighborhood nurture is you proactively engaging, and it's a set it and forget it. So you don't have to remember to do those things. Finally, we tapped into respondents' awareness of issues not directly related to selling their home. We include these results here because we suspect they will trigger ideas for you as they did for us. We also know that sharing information not commonly known by consumers can also be quite powerful in your marketing. And the question was, do you know how home search websites, apps like Zillow and Realtor.com make money? 50% said yes. 31 maybe, but not positive, and 17 no, I don't understand. So I think that majority of people, it seems like, have a clue on how they make their money, and maybe some don't. What does the following statement make you think? Some real estate home search website apps make money by sending you to a real estate agent when you click or tap contact agent and schedule a tour on the home for sale. If you actually buy a home with this agent, the website app company will take 35% of the commission the agent receives from working with you. This could be as much as $5,000 on a purchase of $500,000. The website apps do not disclose this payment, which comes out of the money you use to buy the house. 37% said, I have no problem with it, but it bothers me that they do not disclose it. 31%, it sounds fair and I have no problem with it. So when you asked them how much training would you guess is required to get a license to help people buy and sell a home, 40% said 2 to 3 years. Josh, I'm glad that made you laugh as much as it did me. About a year, you can see. So you can use this in your marketing, you guys. Do you see how them giving you this information? I mean, 2 to 3 years compared to or here it says 40 hours to about 150 hours, depending on what state you're in. They truly don't understand. So you can use this to your advantage when you're marketing, because they're working with a true professional versus somebody who has been trained, as much as I know all of you guys are pouring into training and you're constantly showing up, or you wouldn't even be on here today, versus them landing in the hands of of an agent who maybe has had nothing, but because they clicked contact an agent, that's who they landed with. So, and I'm not saying buying leads are bad, so don't hear me say that. What I am saying is there are multiple ways for you to use this as to your advantage when it comes to marketing. Lastly, they surveyed awareness and willingness to consider power buying. I just want you guys to know these numbers. They asked, have you heard of companies that offer buy before you sell services? 57% said yes. And is this the kind of service something that you would consider? Would you consider to smooth and your home selling and buying process? Sorry, I need glasses and I haven't gone to get them yet. 48% said yes, maybe. 25% said yes, definitely. So that's over 70% of sellers that were surveyed by 1000 Watt, the research data center that we subscribe to, said that they would consider some sort of an iBuyer type program. That was very eye-opening to me. I don't know if that's eye-opening to you guys, but that was very eye-opening to me. Number one, because it tells me that they just want ease and quickness, and if they can get it, then then they're open to it and they'll go for it. It also really tells me that it might not be a bad idea for all of us to really understand what those programs are that are out there, what they offer, because maybe you might get a seller that's the competition or the objection that you have to overcome. And truly, if 70% of people would potentially say yes to them, then it could be, you could view that as a competition, unless you switch your thinking and you have strategy around it, and you could partner with one, or figure out a way that you could become an iBuyer yourself. I know we have agents in some of our offices that actually will go and they have ways that they'll say, well, if that's what you want at this price, then I'll buy it and turn around and sell it, or keep it as an investment, or they will, oh my gosh, I'm totally blanking on them. Wholesale it. They'll wholesale it. A good friend of mine in Charleston, who's been an agent for several years and a great agent, he makes more money wholesaling than he does technically from his team, and he has one of the number one teams in the Charleston area. So there I'm talking about Caleb. I mean, he wholesales so much because he just started and went and got some investors. And so they have the ability to buy the house before they actually, have to go through all the stuff and give them cash. And a lot of sellers take him up on it. Okay, so that's the end of the survey results from 1000 Watt. I would love to, number one, here in the chat, any ahas or takeaways or thoughts that you had just from seeing those results. So hopefully you got something from that. I find those fascinating. I think the more research and data that we can have, the better it gives us on perspective that we can give to our clients and consumers. And if we can have a back way in to see really what they're thinking and what they're feeling, it just helps us so much more. Yes, so would love to hear your all's ahas. Jake said it's crazy how people thought of our training to get a license and how many people would. Yeah, totally. Yep. Jason, great script deck for the most current market conditions. Totally agree. Like those, I hope those 2 scripts were just worth you guys showing up. Bobby, step up marketing methods aside from social media. Totally agree with that. Direct mail marketing is back in a huge way. When you hear Gary's top 100, almost all of them are really hot and heavy. They've stopped radio ads and they're hot and heavy on direct mail, which is really big. Would love to hear, Tracy, said, I did think that many want the most money yet with this, and also talking with a client just this week, she would like to have someone purchase her home without having, wow, yep. Yeah, I think sometimes we think that people won't go for that or won't do it, but I don't know, that's changing. And so I think we just really have to have options. And honestly, I think a big aha for me was, if some of you guys don't have hard money lenders that you have good relationships with, if you can't do it on your own, you need to go find one. Investors. Oh, Josh just said, I have 2 investors on standby for these sellers who would want to sell to an iBuyer. Yep, that's perfect. My goal is to be that investor by the end of this year. Yes, love it, Josh. Yep. And honestly, that's just a huge aha, because again, if over 70%, and like Tracy said, just happened to her, are saying that they would entertain it, maybe and or definitely, we've got to have that as an option. So at least you guys don't lose them as a client and you don't lose the market share. I wanted to remind you of this. We're actually going to end a little early today. I went through those faster than I thought. I wanted to remind you of the seasons of the data bank. I think this originated from I think maybe Gary's top group. I can't remember, but we got this last year and I loved, Gary has taught me this for years, and to have it put on a 1-pager was really, really, really great. And I love just having this broken up like this. So just to remind you guys, the spring summer explosion we are still in right now. So if you look at the bottom, from March 1st to July 31st, this is the buying and selling season for real estate. Maintain relationships, hustle hard, and collect all the transactions that you planted seeds for in the winter. We're in the hustle time right now, and that typically continues through the end of July. It typically continues basically until school starts, for the most part, wherever your area is. One thing I want to mention about this too, in the last 3 years, we have not been in real estate seasonality. So if you are new to the market, you've never experienced the true seasonality of real estate, where this is what this is, but where the spring market is like, woo, it's like the time. It's when everybody's hitting it hard. And then it slows down when school starts back. And then you get a kick back up through probably Halloween-ish time, Thanksgiving, and then you have a lull through the holidays and through the dead of winter. And then hopefully in February, as the weather starts to turn for most of us in the Midwest, we start to get right back into getting geared up for like that spring market. Over the last 3 years, we've not had normal real estate seasonality. We've had go, go, go. We've been in a speed-based market, not a skill-based market. And so we've lost that real estate seasonality. We are moving back to that real estate seasonality. So I think that over the rest of this year into next year, we're really going to feel that like we used to. And so that's why this makes sense. So I want you guys to start gearing up for August, because can you believe it's almost July? It just goes by way too fast. But August through October, through the end of October, is the fall cleanup time. And this is where you should really be spending your time deciding what information you want to have on each person. You must have their phone number, their email, and their home address, period. Those are non-negotiables. You have to have those. Nice to haves, birthdays, home anniversaries, and then anything you can have with the forward script, their family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. Figure out where the holes are in the information in your data bank. Do you have their addresses but not their birthdays? It's really doing cleanup of your entire database, and then create a list of everyone that should be in your database but is not currently in your database. So I just want you guys to start thinking about this, especially if you've already started to slow down. But while you're hustling hard during the explosion time, as soon as it starts to slow and August hits or back to school hits, you need to switch your brain into fall cleanup, and it needs to really be focused on your database, because then come November through the end of February, you're in the winter of renewal. You're renewing all of your relationships. If those of you that are newer in the business, this is easier. If it's been 6 years since you've called your database, you're going to have a reason to call them. But the reason of why is because the end of the year, from November to New Year's, it's one of the best times because it's holiday time. It's their natural touch points. I know some of you right now are hopefully using 4th of July as a natural touch point to your database. A lot of you do pop buys then, but you want to use each of these kind of seasons as a specific intentional way to touch your database and to grow your business. And so I just wanted to reshare this with you as we close today. I don't know if you guys have seen this. Type in the chat yes or no if you've seen this before. I'm totally curious. If you've not seen it, I just wanted you to make sure that you got this and that you know what to focus on. Okay, lots of no's, a couple yeses. Jake, you've seen it because I shared it. Yep, awesome. Okay, perfect. So make sure that you have this and that you're using this, and share this with your teams or your offices, because for me, August 1st is going to be here before we know it. And that's when things are gonna kind of start to change. Okay, guys. Oh my gosh, we're early today, so you'll get some of your time back. But yes, we can definitely send out the slides. Just email us. You can email me, Dana Gentry at KW, if you want them. And after we get the recording up and the slides, we'll be happy to send them to you. And I hope that this was valuable to you guys. I love nerding out on a lot of the research. There's always so much I can share. Hopefully next month I'll have the updated pretty slides from KWRI with all of the stats and numbers on there that I know that you guys like to see. And in the meantime, go focus on your sellers and your database, and really knowing your local trends are going to be a huge piece. Josh, so proud of you that you always know yours, and it's what makes you a game changer with your clients. And so you guys need to make sure that you guys are knowing those too. Have an awesome July 4th weekend. Thanks for being on.
Thanks, Dana. You too.
My pleasure. See you guys. Have a great weekend.